Isabella. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
Good.
Don't forget, still Mr. Mike here. Still
Yep.
good help. Still practice cognitive behavior therapy. Still do narrative therapy. Still reality based and person centered. Real quick, because we do have to talk about this before we start.
Okay.
Got to cover some legal things with you.
Okay.
Anything you say in here is confidential, unless you tell me you intend to kill yourself. You tell me you intend to kill someone else. You tell me that a minor or elderly person or otherwise incapacitated person is being harmed. In those cases, I have to report it for both your protection and theirs. Additionally, if you give me written permission to release the information, or if I'm ever court ordered by a judge to testify, then I would be legally compelled to do so. But in either of those last two cases, I would only share, in fact, in all those cases, I would only share what is necessary, okay?
Okay.
So it's unlikely that could happen, but in the event, I do have to disclose that before we start, okay? I just want you to know that I'm an associate licensed counselor, state of Texas. My supervisor's name is Dr. Kendra Jackson. She can be reached at jackson@kingswoodtherapy.com. Yeah, Jackson K at kingswoodtherapy.com.
Okay.
Or you can call her at 682-867-3539. And you can contact her at any time during our sessions should you have any questions, okay?
Okay.
So do you have any questions about limits of confidentiality that I just talked about with you? Or any questions about the paperwork you signed before we started?
No.
Okay, very well. All right, so thank you for reviewing that important information with me. I appreciate it, thank you. Now, in our last session, we talked some about issues at work which were causing you some anxiety, particularly when you were dealing with coworkers that weren't doing their fair share, or when you have to speak to your supervisor. Did you want to continue talking about that, or was there a more pressing issue you wanted to discuss with me today?
I think we could try to do something else.
Well, it's up to you. You're kind of leading the way here. I'm just here to help.
Okay, let's continue on.
All right, that sounds good. So, how are you doing since the last time we talked? How have you been doing?
I'm better, a little better. Not as hectic. Still hectic at work, but it's not as bad for my anxiety wise. So I've been not like sweating every time I walk in.
Oh, good.
So
So has it been getting easier for you to go into work and work with the same people?
Kind of, yeah. It's like a mix. So like when there's people there, like the newer people there are very sweet and kind, but the people who have been there longer are more strict and rude. So.
Well, tell me some more about the new people. Are you telling me that the new people are helping to are they helping to help you manage your anxiety?
Yes.
Are they helping with that?
Yes.
Tell me how they're helping you to manage your anxiety.
The first thing is that they ask me if I'm okay, and I have been honest with them by saying no, I'm not. And what they've been doing is that they've been trying to talk to me about it. Like we just sit there and just breathe and like do like a box breathing method, and we sit there and talk for a little bit, and then we go back to work, and I feel fine. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that these people are a lot nicer to you, and they're more willing to listen to you, and they're more willing to help you out. Now, you had mentioned to me previously that your anxiety at work was causing you some anxiety at home as well. Now, has that gotten any better, or is that still an issue?
I would say it's still an issue, because I'm just, every time I walk, because anytime I just go home, I always get worried, like, is the supervisor going to be upset at me? Because the supervisor's not there all the time, but, like, they write stuff down and put it in the book, and I'm afraid that the other group that's there is lying about me, and it's just putting lies down and saying I'm not doing anything. I'm just always finding an excuse to, miss work or to not do my stuff at the gym.
Okay, so have you had to deal with all of that previously? Like, how did you deal with it the last time? Because it looks like you're still at that job, and it's not gotten to the point to where you're ready to leave. And I think you had mentioned to me previously that you may even be up for a promotion. So obviously you're doing something right there. Tell me, how did you deal with it the last time? Like, how were you able to push through?
I don't really know. I don't really know. I kind of just like set my mind off and just walked through it like it was nothing. But something is happening where something is bad. It's so bad that it's affecting me now. Before it wasn't affecting me, and now it's affecting me. I don't know why.
Okay, so you're saying that you were able to get through it last time. You're not sure how, but you were able to push through.
Yes.
So see, that's showing me that you've got some inner strength there that you may not even yourself be aware of. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely there, and you were definitely able to get through it. You worked through it, and you found a way. So what we're here to do today is to continue that feeling. Like, were there good feelings around you when you made it through that last time? And tell me how you felt because I know you mentioned that your supervisor said that you might be up for a promotion. Because that was part of the things that you had some anxiety about talking to your supervisor. He called you in, and turns out it's a good thing. He's looking at you for a promotion. That's great. Tell me how that made you feel.
That made me feel really good about myself. I felt like I could get through things even though they're hard. I can push through tough times at work. And I just put a smile on my face. And I put a smile on my face too, so it made me happy.
Alright, so that tells me that was a really good thing that happened there. And it also tells me that you may not have been expecting that. Did you have the normal thing that where if a supervisor calls you into the office, like, what did I do this time? Oh no, what's wrong? That is completely normal. I have a similar thing with my own supervisor. I know exactly how you feel. And every time my supervisor, although everything has been great so far, but every time she calls me in, it's like, Mike, I want to come see you for a second. Like, oh boy, what did I do this time? Oh no, what am I going to do? Oh boy. But it turns out it's usually just something good that's happened, or she wants to tell me about one of my past clients who's doing really well now. And so what we want to do today is we want to give you some skills or give you ways to deal with your anxiety at work, so that way it doesn't interfere with your issues. It doesn't cause issues at home. That's what we're wanting to do today, or at least get started with that. So let's start with on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I'm fine, I'm good, no problem at all, to 10 being the world's ending, or it feels like everything's crushing down on top of me. For 10, how would you rate your anxiety?
At work?
Yes.
That's still pretty high. It's still about 8 or 9.
It's still an 8. Okay, I think that's about where it was last time. It was an 8. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about things that we can do to kind of help you get through that. Okay. And I want you to feel empowered. First off, I want you to know that your supervisor apparently believes that you're doing a great job, because here you are up for a promotion. And how many people did you tell me he was looking at? It was you and how many others?
I think 3 or 4.
See?
Yeah.
And how many people work at that place?
Yeah.
Like a bunch, right?
Yeah.
Way more than 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
So definitely you're doing something right, and he has taken notice of that, and he wants to see if you can handle more responsibility. But before we get to that point, let's make sure we can deal with the one that we have, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about the people people who have been there a little longer. Now you're saying the newer people have been a little bit nicer, and they've been more receptive to when you ask for help. So what about the people who have been there a bit longer. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with that.
Well, one, they're older, so they assume that they know everything about the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been there longer than I have. But they're older and they're like, oh, I know how to do this, and this is the correct way to do it. When the person who was training me told me to do it this way.
Right. So these people who have been here for forever,
Mm-hmm.
for a long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
they think that they can do it the way that they've been doing it all this time. It's been working this way for them all this time, and they don't see any reason to change it. You were shown by the supervisor, this is how it's supposed to be done, or the trainer, excuse me, not the supervisor. You're shown by the trainer, this is how it's supposed to be done, and they're saying, no, we're not gonna do it that way, we're gonna do it our way. Do I understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what we can do with it. Okay? If you have conversations with them, you know, and they tell you like, I'm doing it this way, this is how I'm gonna do it, and this is how I'm gonna continue to do it. Well, you remind them like, this is how we were shown to do this though, this is how the supervisor shown us to do it, this is how we're supposed to do it. And if they still resist, we need to Elsa that stuff.
Yeah.
What do we mean?
Yeah,
We mean
let
let it
go.
go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay? So what you tell them, you just briefly remind them and then let it go. Because it's not your problem at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it doesn't do us any good to unnecessarily worry about things that are beyond the scope of our control. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I get
You
it.
can't control everyone.
Right.
So, but you can control yourself though. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only thing in that situation that you can control is you and how you react.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not gonna just say don't let them get you. Like, I know sometimes that's harder to do
Mm-hmm.
than it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you a couple of things that you can do. So a couple of suggestions for you, okay? So if you think that you're coming up on an anxiety, if you're starting to feel anxious,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel it, and it's like, oh, then I'm just saying, if you feel it, here's a couple of things that we can do, and there's a couple of things that I'd like for you to do outside of the session. And I want you to remember these things, and I want you to do them, and I want you to give them a try and see how they work, okay? So let's start with recognizing your triggers, okay? So we know you know what your triggers are.
I guess like the sweat is a sign. Like.
Well, that's a physical sign, absolutely.
Oh.
So what causes you to feel that? What causes that sweat? What causes those physical reactions to your anxiety?
Yes.
What causes in other words, what's causing the anxiety in the first place?
The hurt.
Like what?
Oh, the people.
Right,
Yeah.
there you go.
Sorry.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. And so we understand that that's the root. That's where it's coming from. That's our trigger. That's where it's coming from. Though that's what we're going to deal with. Okay.
Okay.
So first thing that you can do is you can try what's called a 7-11 breathing exercise. Have you heard of that before?
Mm-mm.
All right. So if you feel that your heart rate is going up and you're getting upset, you try a 7-11.
Okay.
Okay, it would be a 7-second inhale.
Mm-hmm.
So and then an 11-second exhale.
Ooh.
Yeah, all right.
Long.
It's supposed to be slow because what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to gradually reduce your heart rate.
Okay.
Okay, it's not going to be like an instant thing. It's not going to fix it right away, but
Yeah.
you're going to gradually reduce it. So we try a 7-11. We're not going to try it right now, but that's how it is. It's
Okay.
7-second inhale
Mm-hmm.
and then an 11-second exhale.
Okay.
Okay, that might help you slow down a little bit. You can also try, what I like to try, this is like one of my personal favorites that helps me out, it's called journaling. Okay, and what you do, you get yourself a little notebook, get a notebook or a pad, or even like a pad that you carry with you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel something is making you anxious, or you feel like, oh boy, this is I already know, write it down. This is one of my triggers. This is one of the things that sets me off. So this is something that I can look at and try my best to avoid while I'm at work, okay?
Okay.
All right? And here's another good one. Establish a boundary, okay? Learn how to say no. So if these people are causing additional work for you, or they want to give you additional responsibilities that are not yours, you just sound like, no.
Oh, that's hard.
Yes, that is hard. But I tell you, there is you're not responsible for anybody else. Who are you responsible for?
Me.
You're responsible for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And here's some other ones that I like to try too, and I want you to try these as we're getting ready to close up here.
Okay.
What I want you to do is I want you to try some of these other things too, and this is probably the biggest thing that's going to help you out with your anxiety.
Okay.
Ready?
No.
Get some sleep. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yes. You need to get at least 7 hours. Like, no, minimum.
No.
Minimum, yeah.
Really
Get some
bad,
sleep. So for our next session, I want you to try at least a couple of nights to get 7 hours.
Okay.
You can also try doing some create not no, that's what I'm saying. You can create a calming space.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you get home, or even at work, you can have an area that's just your area, especially on breaks. You just sit down wherever you are. That's your area, and you make that your calming workspace, your calming space. Like this is where I take a breath. This is where I slow down. This is where I retreat into my own thoughts and try to replace some of those negative, unhelpful thoughts with some more positive ones. Like, the boss is gonna call me in and yell at me, but what if she's calling me in to give me that job, give me that promotion?
Yeah.
Oh, money! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we're getting ready to wrap up here, tell me how you're feeling. Are these things that you might be able or willing to try here over the next week before I see you again?
Yeah, the breathing, not the journaling though.
You're not feeling the journaling? I understand that. But I want you to try it anyway.
Okay.
Okay? For this next week, I want you to try it. I want you to write things down, and I want you to bring it back with you when you come back for our next session. And I want you to tell me if you learned anything about yourself over that week, okay?
Okay.
So, and how are you feeling now? How are we feeling now as we get ready to close up? Do you feel like you might be able to better handle some of the things that's coming up here over this next week?
Yes.
Or do you think you might be in the same spot?
I feel like I could do better.
Okay?
Yeah.
You feel like you could do better?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you might be able to, especially if you really give them like an honest shot. I really think those things will help you. And I know you're not feeling the journaling thing.
Yeah.
I know that's not your biggest
I
thing.
don't like journaling.
But I'm telling you, if you just give it a try, write it down, write things down, it'll help. It'll help, okay? It'll find a way for you to help, okay?
Okay.
For you to get help. Or at least, at the very least, recognize what's causing it. And then we can go from there, okay?
Okay.
Well, hey, I want to really thank you for coming down this week. It's great seeing you again.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yes.
And you just have a great one, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.